Hey, how's it going everyone? Today we're going to go over tapered strokes and the wave effect, new in After Effects 2020. And by new, I mean about a year old, but relatively new. Without further ado, let's jump right into After Effects. Okay, so first off, let's turn off the transparency grid here and draw a line. Just going to draw a random line and give it a white stroke. Make sure you name your layers. Shape layer 1, let's name this one Edward. The taper effect can be found in the stroke menu. You can just adjust the end length to create the taper, or the start length, obviously. And this effect, I mean, on its own, you can imagine the utility this has. It's very powerful. It's a feature that we've requested for a long time. But there's a lot of really cool things you can do with the wave, which is also a new property they added. With this property, combined with the taper, you can make some really powerful stuff. I'm going to show you guys how you can make some really cool rocket fire. You might have seen it on my Instagram tutorial. But I'm going to kind of dig into that rig a little bit more so you can see really how powerful it is and all the different effects you can control. Okay, so here's kind of the rocket fuel effect that I'm making. And it's just like a really nice, very cartoony, wavy rocket fuel effect. You can fake something like this with Wave Warp, but in my opinion, this is a lot easier and a much better result. So yeah, if we just take this apart, the main flame, I just have it in its own composition here. Like what is going on here? Let's just dig in. It's really only taper and wave effects. So the taper, I just have it on 100%, and then I have the stroke width is like humongous, 1,000. So this stroke width actually doesn't really matter that much. It only matters in relation to the wavelength. You can play around with these values as much as you want, and honestly, if you decrease the wavelength, you can just zoom in on it. Decrease the wavelength, zoom in, and it's sort of the same effect. It's much faster because of the expression I'm using, but it's basically the same effect. And we see that there is an expression on the phase of the wave, and that expression is just time times negative 500. So if I delete that, no movement. So that expression is basically just moving through the phase of the wave very quickly. And I can, if I decrease that, let's say I do 100, see how much slower it is. That could be some cool slow-mo effect, it's definitely something to look at as well. This will also vary depending on your wavelength very heavily. So we decreased our wavelength. If we make this 250, that's about as fast as if this was at 1000 and it was time times 500. And then I just put a gradient ramp on top of my flames, and yeah, it looks kind of like fire. Cool. And then for the other flames, I basically just duplicated the same stroke and then adjusted some properties. And then I made solids that are using a set matte effect to give it like a glow when it overlaps with this main one. I don't want to dive too deep into the specific properties or like values of each of these because you might want to adjust them yourself and just play with them. But obviously I made them a little thinner because on this rocket I have, the engines are a little bit smaller on left and right. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, they're smaller, it'll be a thinner flame. Good thing we're auto-saving here. Don't want to lose any progress. Yeah, and so this is like how I did the rocket fuel. It's super basic and simple, but like this really cool like wavy effect is something that's kind of hard to get in After Effects without a lot of manual keyframing or references. That's basically it. Thank you guys for watching. I have some more tutorials planned in the future, so hit that subscribe button and leave a like and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. I know you're looking at my project window probably and you're thinking, wow, that's a really messy project. Don't worry, it's a really high-level organizational system. Won't bore you with the details, but just know that this is exactly at a high level how you want to organize your projects.